Welcome back to the When Dreams and Action Collide podcast. I'm your host, Joy Lanae, your Productivity Powerhouse, and I am so excited to be back. I took a bit of time off over Christmas, the Christmas holidays, and into the new year, and even for the month of January. And now I am ready to kick back into gear. I'm ready to go. Okay? So I absolutely love the new year. It's just a fresh start, new goals, building on the goals and habits you started last year. I love it, love everything about it. And you might be saying, like, why are you only talking about goals now? It's literally February. Why didn't you start it like towards the end of December or even, as we crossed into the new year? How come you didn't start it then? And I actually wanted to do this on purpose. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I think people can get caught up in like the New Year's resolution, hacks, the shiny object syndrome, everything's flashy. You write out these amazing goals, lots of them. And then what usually happens is about week 2 or 3, you start falling off the bandwagon. You go, it's too much. You realize you can't do it all, fit it all in. Maybe the goals were too much or they feel too much to sustain. So you completely quit, like all of them. Even if some goals were going good and some weren't, usually people just quit everything. So I wanted to get you past sort of that New Year's resolution, quote unquote, stage and wait a little while. Okay? This is actually something that I've done for the past few years, and I have found it to be so good. I really, really take the time to set my goals. And because of it, I've actually been able to sustain them and the momentum towards them. I've just found that doing this, I sustain my habits and goals through the entire year. It doesn't mean I accomplish everything, but I believe that more things have gained traction because of this. So what I'm going to do is a little 2-part series on goal setting for this week. You'll have this episode now, and then in a couple of days, I'll release the second half because I really wanted to break things up and give you the 2 concepts that I believe will really help you set goals and habits for this year. So I'm calling this series Review and Pursue. So today we're going to do the review part because what this does is it helps you to intentionally chase after your goals with clarity and very much purpose. It's about using your review as a launch pad to pursue bigger things and even better things this year. Reviewing actually emphasizes forward movement. So you might think, how can that be done? But wait and see. You're not just looking back for the sake of looking back or for the sake of reviewing, but you're doing the review with intent to actively go after what you want next. It helps you to build on what you may have laid a foundation for last year, or if you didn't do anything or you fell off halfway through the year, it shows you where your starting point is. Okay? So here we go. We're going to get into the review part. What I want you to do is grab a pen and paper or sit down at your computer to type some things out, or you can simply use your notes app on your phone. Whatever is going to be easiest. I just want you something that you can, write down or type out. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do a brain dump. I usually kind of put the little bit of a heading on the first page of things I learned this year. And what I want you to do is just start typing or start writing, whatever comes to your mind. You're going to do, and when I say whatever comes to your mind, you're reviewing last year, the good, the bad, the ugly, just write things. Now, I'm not much of a writer, so my things usually are like dot points or like really brief statements that I just go. I just one after the other, I just go. I don't truly really take too much thought into it. I just start writing. This usually, when I write, it's maybe like 1 or 2 pages of things that I'm just jotting down. I'll give you some examples of what I did this year. So one of the things I wrote down was meal prepping with Rowan makes things easier for me. And the reason I thought of that was because towards the end of the year, we got really busy. And instead of me spending like 2.5 hours meal prepping, for the week or even for a few days, I just asked Rowan to come along and say, hey, could you help me prep some things? You do this and I'll do this so that we can get it done quicker and really set ourselves up for the week. So instead of taking 2.5 hours myself, it took us like 30-40 minutes together. And it was just amazing. So I was like, we're going to continue this because it's been really good. Another thing I wrote down was I am not a winter person. And the reason I wrote that down was because I noticed that in those, especially those 3 winter months, I didn't get a lot accomplished. I didn't do a lot of my habits. I didn't work on a lot of my goals because it was cold, it was dark, I didn't want to wake up early, all that stuff. So I wanted to make that mental note because this year I want to be able to put some things in place to be able to counteract that and to be proactive in that season. I wrote some things like, I wish I did more of this. I don't want to do this again this year. I would like to change things up. So get the idea. That's what you're wanting to write out. Just literally just write everything out. That's what you're going to do. And then what I want you to do is take another sheet of paper or another piece of paper that you're going to type on. And I want you to brain dump some specific areas. So with the headings, I want you to do what you want to keep doing, what you want to stop doing, and what you want to start doing. Okay. Under those headings, keep doing, stop doing, start doing. So a couple of examples from what I wrote was what I want to keep doing was my reading habit that I developed. Because by doing this, it actually allowed me to accomplish my goal of reading 30 books for the year. So I set aside, I wanted to do at least 20 minutes a day of reading. I didn't do that every day, but I did that for the majority of the time, and it just helped me to reach my goal. So I wanted to keep doing it. It also just got me back to my real love of reading, which I hadn't done. What I wanted to stop doing. So there was a couple of subscriptions that I had that I didn't really use, or even some that I used that I'm just like, eh. So I just wanted to be able to stop them. Even if I had like 6 months left, I'm like, I'll just stop them, won't use them. What do I want to start doing? One of the areas that I wrote down was I wanted to do more recreational fun things. It was a goal sort of on my list, but it was kind of low prioritized. I didn't really focus on it that much. So I wanted to make sure that this was something that was a bit higher in my prioritization. So once you've done that, this process should only take about 15, 20 minutes, but it's okay if it does take longer. But what I don't want you to do is dwell too much here, especially dwelling on what you didn't do or what you didn't accomplish. Because we're just human nature. We focus more on the negative than the positive. But what I want you to do is to tap in to the positive, even if it was small. So that's why I said the good, the bad, the ugly. Don't dwell too much on the things that you didn't achieve. If you set a goal this year and didn't achieve it, it doesn't mean you're a failure. What this is doing is actually gathering information and data that's going to help you for this year. And when you think of it that way, by writing these down, the good, the bad, the ugly, it's going to help you reframe your thinking that this is information, this is data that I can use. Listing both is good and I need to do it. I'll give you an example, out of the top 8 goals that I set for myself this year, I only fully accomplished 3 of them. Like fully accomplished was like, tick, that's great. But the rest of them that I set, I did move forward. There was forward momentum in them. And if I hadn't set that goal, I probably wouldn't have done anything in them. I actually remember, I think there was one of them mid-year that it was just a goal I sort of wrote down, and it was kind of like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't. Like I wasn't really fussed. So I just removed it halfway through the year. And I just think that's great because even if you accomplished only a few goals on your list, but you made forward movement in others, you're not a failure. It's a win-win situation. Now you're just gathering all the information and data. Okay, so back to the review part. The reason I am having you write these things down is because you want to find out what you want to pursue this year. But to be able to do that, you need to know where you're at right now. Everybody knows the analogy. If you want to go somewhere, you use your GPS and you program where you are now and where you want to go, your destination. There's 2 factors that you have to program in: where you are now and where you want to go. And so reviewing actually shows you where you've been and also where you are now. And you need that information to be able to plan and set goals for the next year. Most people want to rush over this. I just highly encourage you not to do that. Don't skip over this step. Take a little bit of time for this. Not too much time. Don't dwell too much. But take the time and write it down. I want you to write it down. Because when you do this, when you write it down, you'll actually start to see a little bit of it'll start to reveal a little bit of what you want to do and even spark and tease maybe what your goals and habits need to be for this year. You'll just find things that correlate, and maybe things that, were, you might even say on that list where you brain dumped, I thought this was important to me, but found later in the year it's not really that important to me. Or I didn't really think this was important, but now I really do think it's important and beneficial. So that's what you want to do. So again, I'm purposely taking this slowly because I think it's well worth it. This review part is not wasted time. It's very beneficial. So in the next day or two, what I want you to do is review. Take the time to review the last year, write down everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, categorize those things, what I want to keep doing, stop doing, start doing. Just really brain dump that in the next couple of days. And then what we're going to do in the next episode is we're going to start the planning for your goals and habits for this next year. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on this next episode, and I will see you again next time.